Step inside the loony bin. Look what comes creeping in. Don't look back, she'll slash a grin. Lock her up if you can. Welcome now to the loony bin. The loony bin.
Welcome back to the Loony Bin. This is the podcast where we talk about places people warn you about, not with signs, but with silence. Places where the stories don't sound dramatic until you're standing there yourself. Tonight's episode is about one of those places, a location that looks completely ordinary in daylight. A place people picnic near, walk their dogs near, and barely think about. That is, until nightfall.
And that's when things change, because when the sun goes down, Goatmans Bridge stops being just a bridge and starts being something else.
I'm Emma.
And I'm James.
And tonight, we're talking about Old Alton Bridge, better known as Goatman's Bridge. Goatman's Bridge is not a ruin hidden miles from civilization. It's officially called Old Alton Bridge, and it sits just outside Denton, Texas, crossing History Creek. It was built in 1884, which means this bridge has stood through more than a century. It existed before cars, before streetlights, and before modern infrastructure.
And that matters because iron truss bridges like this one weren't designed for silence. They creak, they echo, they amplify every step you take.
So when people walk across it at night, they're already heightened. Every sound feels louder, closer, and more personal.
And the woods around it are thick. Once you're on the bridge, you can't see far into the trees, and the creek below reflects very little light.
It creates this feeling of being suspended, not fully in the woods, not fully out of them. This bridge was built to serve the town belt.
And Alton is important because it doesn't exist anymore.
That's right. In the mid-1800s, Alton was the county seat of Denton County. It was a functioning town. Homes, businesses, families, daily life.
But when the county seat moved to Denton, Alton slowly faded away.
People left. Buildings were abandoned, and nature had reclaimed the land.
Today, almost nothing remains, just an old cemetery and this bridge.
Which means when people visit Goatman's Bridge, they're walking through the remains of a forgotten community.
And historically, places like that tend to collect some stories.
Now, the most famous legend tied to the bridge centers around a black goat farmer who lived near the area.
Some versions place the story in the late 1800s, others say early 1900s.
What stays consistent is that he raised goats and was reportedly successful.
Which, in that time and place, made him a target.
According to the legend, local members of the Ku Klux Klan accused him of crimes without evidence.
They dragged him from his home in the middle of the night.
Brought him to the bridge.
And lynched him.
But when they looked over the edge,
his body was gone.
No splash, no corpse.
Just the rope.
Now before we move on, we want to share something sent to us by a listener.
They asked us not to use their real name, so we'll call them M.
Now M grew up in Denton Country. They knew the stories, but as all teenagers, they laughed them off.
Until one night, they decided to cross Goatman's Bridge for themselves.
It was around 1:30 in the morning. I went with two friends. We parked near the trail and walked the rest of the way.
Already a bad start.
The woods were loud at first. Bugs, frogs. But as we got closer to the bridge, everything went quiet. Not slowly, all at once.
Yeah, that detail comes up a lot.
We stepped onto the bridge, and I remember feeling like I couldn't swallow, like the air was thicker. About halfway across, my friend dared us to knock on the railing. He did it 3 times.
Oh no.
We laughed, nothing happened. But when we turned around to head back, we heard footsteps behind us.
On metal?
Yes. Heavy, slow, Not shoes, more like something hard hitting the bridge.
Hooves.
I didn't want to turn around, but my friend did. He froze, wouldn't move, wouldn't speak.
That's worse than screaming.
He finally whispered, "It's standing at the end of the bridge."
Standing. Waiting.
I turned just enough to see it. It was tall, way too tall, and its legs bent backward. Its eyes reflected the moonlight, and it tilted its head, like it was curious.
That detail right there. That's consistent with other reports.
None of us ran. We walked, slowly. Like if we ran, it would chase us.
That instinct kicks in for a reason.
When we reached the end of the bridge, the footsteps stopped, but the feeling didn't. The next morning, my car wouldn't start, and when it finally did, there were deep scratches on the trunk.
Scratches that weren't there before.
I don't go back there anymore. I don't talk about it much, but I know what I saw, and I know it didn't want us there.
I hate that story.
Yeah, 'cause it matches too many others.
The silence, the hooves, the not chasing.
Almost like it doesn't need to.
It's like the bridge itself is enough.
Or like whatever's there knows you'll leave on your own.
True.
Now, one of the biggest arguments against the Goatmans legend is the lack of official records. There's no birth certificate, no police reports, no newspaper clipping that clearly documents a lynching at Old Alton Bridge.
Right.
And on the surface, that sounds like a reasonable reason to dismiss the story entirely.
Right. Because we're taught to trust documentation. If it's real, it should be written down somewhere.
But that belief only works if history has always been honest, and it hasn't.
Especially in the late 1800s and early 1900s.
During that period, racial violence, especially against Black Americans, was frequently ignored, underreported, or deliberately erased. Lynchings happened without investigations, murders went unpunished, entire communities knew what happened, but no one wrote it down.
And even when it was written down, records were often vague, altered, or quietly destroyed.
So the absence of evidence doesn't automatically mean something didn't happen. Sometimes it means it was never allowed to matter.
Which is uncomfortable to think about.
It is, because it means folklore sometimes becomes the only place these stories survive.
Passed down verbally, changed slightly over time.
But still rooted in real fear, real violence, and real trauma.
And Goatman's Bridge exists in that space, where documented history ends, and lived memory begins.
Another reason people dismiss the Goatman story is because there are multiple versions.
Different names, different dates, even different details.
But that's exactly how oral history works.
Stories aren't preserved like files. They're preserved like conversations.
Exactly. They change slightly every time they're told, shaped by who's telling them and who's listening.
And yet, certain details in the Goatman legend never disappears.
A man taken at night, a lynching, a body that vanishes.
And a bridge at the center of it all.
Those elements remain, and that consistency is important.
Because it suggests the story didn't come from nowhere.
The bridge as a symbol. Now, bridges are symbolic places.
They are transitions, crossings.
They connect one side to another, physically and metaphorically.
And historically, bridges have often been places of violence.
Public punishments, executions, bodies dumped where no one wanted to look.
So the idea that a violent act could be tied to a bridge isn't unusual.
What makes Goatman's Bridge unsettling is the idea that whatever happened there didn't end.
Like something lingered.
Now, when people visit Goatman's Bridge today, they often describe a progression of experiences.
Just like M's story, it doesn't usually start with seeing something.
It starts with discomfort,
A tightening in the chest.
The feeling of being watched.
Like you've stepped somewhere you shouldn't be.
Then comes the silence,
The sudden absence of natural sound.
which is deeply unsettling on a biological level.
Our brains are wired to notice when nature goes quiet.
Because silence can mean danger.
Then people hear movement.
Footsteps behind them,
Slow, measured.
often described as heavier than human footsteps.
Some say they hear scraping, like something dragging across metal.
And then, sometimes, people see something.
A tall shape at the end of the bridge.
Standing still,
Watching.
not chasing, not threatening.
Just present.
And that might be the most unsettling part.
Skeptics argue that these experiences can be explained psychologically.
Fear, suggestion, expectation.
And those explanations matter.
But psychology doesn't explain everything.
It doesn't. It doesn't explain why people report similar details without knowing the legend.
Or why animals refuse to cross the bridge at night.
Or why people who go in laughing come out shaken.
Something about the place leaves an impression. Despite the fear, though, people keep coming back.
Because humans are drawn to mystery.
We want proof.
We want answers.
And places like Goatman's Bridge offer the possibility. Not certainty, but possibility.
That maybe there's more to this world than what we can explain.
Whether Goatman's Bridge is haunted,
Or whether it's history echoing forward.
the story persists.
And persistence means something.
Because stories don't survive for over a century without a reason. You've been listening to the Loony Bin.
A place where we don't tell you what to believe.
We just tell you the stories and let you decide what follows you home.
And remember,
Some places don't want to be remembered.
but they won't let themselves be forgotten.